Wattpad is a platform which allows users to read free serialized fiction inside a social network. With 75 million stories and 35 million users worldwide, it's a place where readers and writers interact and where many users become writers as well. Breakout successes have earned big book and movie deals, but Wattpad is also rife with erotic dreck and unedited first drafts. Online, some indie authors complain that Wattpad doesn't equal sales, and the co-founder, Ivan Yuen, said in a recent online interview for the Small Empire show that in the future authors on Wattpad will need to continue giving their work away for free and then look for ways to monetize it. He compared it to how musicians make money. Today I'm talking to Linda Poitevin, author of contemporary romance and dark urban fantasy novels, in the hope she can help clarify the advantages of Wattpad for emerging, indie, and traditionally published authors. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for agreeing to speak to me.
No problem.
Yeah, let's talk about your contemporary romance, Gwyneth Ever After. It received, is this correct, 4.7 million reads?
And you know what? I haven't looked
it's
at.
Let's say over that. It received over 4.7 million reads and ignited sales of your book online. I was really curious though. Did you change it at all for Wattpad? Because
I did not. No.
okay, so it was previously published traditionally, and when you put it on Wattpad, what did you do exactly?
Okay, it was previously published through a small press, not one of the big ones. And that was back in 2010. When I sold my urban fantasy series to Ace, I asked for the rights back for Gwyneth Ever After from the small publisher. And I sat on the book for a while, and then I self-published it last year, so June of 2013. And then this year, I decided that I would give this whole Wattpad thing a try, and I started serializing the novel at the end of April, I believe it was.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible. Like you haven't even been on Wattpad for an entire year yet, and yet you've had
I know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
What a success. So why do you think it's been so successful?
I think that there's a number of factors that have played into this. First of all, it's the right genre. Wattpad romances seem to be huge on Wattpad. There's a very large young adult audience, a lot of young adult females who are reading on Wattpad. And if I think back to my late teen years, I was reading adult romances at that stage. I wasn't interested in reading about kids my own age. I wanted to know what the next stage in life was like, how people were handling kids and marriage and that kind of thing. So the book has found a huge audience among teen girls, which surprised me, but shouldn't surprise me given my own reading tastes at that age. I think the second big factor for me, and I don't have, unfortunately, numbers that can back this up, but before I started on Wattpad, I had already grown a huge Twitter following. My Twitter following is up at, I think, 15.8 thousand. So when I started on Wattpad, I was posting several times a day about my free story on Wattpad. And I think that I may have driven a significant amount of traffic to Wattpad through that. The third thing that I did is I reached out to Wattpad very early on. I let them know that I was running this experiment, that I was blogging about it, and they in turn offered to help out with promotion of the book on their site. So they started adding me to reading lists. I became a promoted book. So and that drove huge numbers in the beginning as well. Well, not huge, but it helped drive the numbers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's interesting what you said about Twitter. So now I guess that answers the question, how did people find you on Wattpad? Um, but what I was wondering then is, how did you go about channeling all that enthusiasm on Wattpad into actually selling the book to people?
You know what? That actually, it just kind of happened. In serializing the book, every time I put up a new chapter, at the end of the new chapter, I would put up just a little blurb telling people that if they couldn't wait for the next chapter, the completed ebook was available for sale on Kindle, Kobo, Nook, and iBook, and buy links were on my website. Unfortunately, Wattpad does not allow you to put a live link into the content of your book, so I couldn't do that. But just by telling people that they could find the buy links on my site, I saw a huge upsurge in the number of people visiting my site and the number of click-throughs from the site onto the buy links. So yeah, that definitely worked.
Yeah, I think you wrote a fantastic article for the Kobo for that Kobo article, and you said that you've had sales of 200 to 350 copies per month since then. So I mean, that's that's wonderful, and I think writers, especially emerging writers, want to hear that they could do that. If it's but yeah. So but now here's another question. Now that you've run what you call your great Wattpad experiment, if you were starting all over from scratch, what would you do this time? Would you do everything the same?
If I was going to be doing the same book and the same circumstances as far as my publishing career is concerned?
Well, let's just say, looking at the point of view of you, the writer, and Wattpad, what would you do if you were coming to Wattpad for the first time right now?
Okay. But do you want this from my own personal view? What would I do differently if I had it all to do over again? Or do you want me to talk about this from the perspective of another author who might be coming for the first time?
Well, I'm interested in both questions. So maybe give me your version first. Is there anything you would have done differently?
Honestly, I can't think of much that I would have done differently. Whether by fluke or pure dumb luck, it's worked very well for me. In reaching out to Wattpad, their staff, they are fantastic. They are so helpful. And I've forged some very strong connections with one of the women there in particular. She has been, it's been a mutual thing. I have worked hard to promote Wattpad from my end, and in return, they have been more than willing to promote my book on their platform. So I can't think of anything that I would really do differently.
Well, also,
I may have done this earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of time commitment does it take? Because I bet there's people out there who think, oh, I would do that, but I'm too busy writing my books.
Yeah. You know what? The time commitment is minimal. I uploaded all of the chapters to Wattpad ahead of schedule. So it was just a matter of getting all the chapters up there, getting them all arranged. And then each week on Friday mornings, as soon as I'd had my coffee and I was coherent, I would go online and I would push the publish button. I'd make sure that the blurb for the buy link was at the end of the chapter. And I'd remove that blurb from the previous chapter and just make sure that everything lined up, and I'd push publish. So on Friday morning, it probably took me 5 minutes. And then it was a matter of I've had a tremendous number of comments from readers. So over the weekend, I probably spend about an hour to an hour and a half going in and reading and answering many of the comments. I don't answer them all, but I do answer anybody that is directly complimenting the story. It's not just a comment about something somebody said in the story. If they're talking about the writing, if they are, asking a question, I answer. I make a point of responding to the comments. Again, writers have to understand that Wattpad is very much a social platform, and it is about building a community there, just as it is on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the other thing I wanted to ask you. I was actually going to leave this to the end, but has the Wattpad audience influenced you?
Yes, they have.
Okay.
In that the response has been so tremendous, and I've grown such a large audience. At this point, I think I'm just shy of 18,000 followers on Wattpad. That's huge. I mean, that's like a built-in email list. Every time I post something to Wattpad, 18,000 people get an email saying, "Hey, Linda posted to Wattpad." You can't buy something like that, and they're giving it away for free. So that's been having those people there has influenced my decision to change paths very slightly right now in my career. Instead of writing the fourth and final chapter in my Grigori Legacy series, that's the dark urban fantasy, I have decided that and I am currently at work on a sequel to the contemporary romance. It's more of a spin-off.
Yeah. This is Forever Grace?
Yeah, Forever Grace.
Yeah, okay.
And there will be a novella coming as well that will link the two novels. I haven't started that yet. So the experience has influenced me tremendously. I will come back to the dark urban fantasy, but I've realized that this audience that I've grown, they're there. They are asking for more. And if I can generate an income, then even if it's somewhat stable, I will be able to take the time to write Sins of the Warrior and still have money coming in while I'm doing that. And that's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like any writer who can actually make their living just writing. Why wouldn't you want to write two novels at once? I mean, it sounds like heaven to me.
The opportunity is there. I would be foolish to walk away from it. And I'm having so much fun. It's been huge fun interacting with these young women in particular on Wattpad. I mean, obviously we cover a lot of different ages and so on, but I mean, some of the early comments and you could tell that they were younger women who were responding, who were utterly horrified that a 42-year-old man might be getting it on with a 35-year-old mother.
Shock.
And by the end of the novel, they all wanted a Gareth of their own. It's like, that's the man I want to fall in love with. So it's been huge fun chatting with them through the comments. And so Wattpad's been wonderful just for the human interaction. There is nothing more lonely than being the author of a book that goes out into the big wide world, and you get to read the occasional review, some of them good, some of them not so good, but all of those lines that you really loved in your book, you have no idea if they've resonated with anyone. And in Wattpad, people are commenting on specific lines and specific paragraphs and specific scenes, and it's like you have a seat beside the reader while they're reading your story. And that is it's been wonderful. I've loved it.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question. It's kind of an impolite question, but we'll see what happens. So Amazon, well, you'll see what my idea of impolite is. So Amazon has their own kind of idea about how to serialize fiction, and they've got an invitation only thing. And if they invited you to go and work for them, would you jump ship?
No, no, can't say that. First of all, I have not been invited.
Yeah.
Second of all, I okay. I honestly I hadn't even heard about this until yesterday when I happened to watch that documentary that you were talking
Yeah.
about Wattpad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would probably at least investigate it, but Amazon has a history of exclusivity that I do not like.
Right.
And I am not going to confine myself to only Amazon readers. Not now, not ever. I have Kobo readers. I have print readers who like to buy my books in bookstores. I have Nook readers. I have iBook readers. And to me, that it just makes no sense whatsoever. It may take me a little while longer to grow my audience because I wouldn't have the Amazon machine behind me, but that's okay. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole, Amazon as an employer issue, which I have huge issues with. So no.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad you let me ask my rude question. So, I guess just to leave off people who are curious about Gwyneth Ever After, could you just give us a quick capsule of what that's about?
Oh, it is so much fun. For every woman that has dreamed of meeting a Hollywood star and having him fall head over heels in love with her, this is that book. Only she's not, she's a single mom. She's got 3 kids. She, in her own mind, is the last person that, things like this just don't happen to her until they do. And he's wonderful. He is, I think it was another author, Sharon Page, called him a sigh-worthy hero. I love that. And he's a very down-to-earth kind of guy. Yes, he's a Hollywood star, but he's awesome. And he is intrigued, and he is not going away. And it's a fairy tale. It's a Cinderella kind of fairy tale, only she's not really a damsel in distress, and he tells her he is no Prince Charming. And yet somehow they still manage to make it work.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It does sound like fun. Okay.
It's a lot of fun, and the kids are just amazing in it. The kids steal the show.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you very much, Linda. And I think this has been a wonderful interview. I've really enjoyed talking to you again. And thank you very much. Do you want to give anybody your www or anything before we sign off?
Yeah, I can be reached at www.lindapoitvin.com or thegregorylegacy.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.